Yeah, they came in last night in another convoy. They're heading out, though. Got their own place to go. The lead driver motioned for her that it was time for them to go. Don't mean to be rude, ma'am, but I gotta get back to my buddies and I'm supposed to show you to your area. Ah, of course, sorry, Drone Girl responded apologetically. She got close and put her hand up to the door handle and it unlocked for her. They drove another few blocks through another checkpoint. She got a gravel parking spot. Over the comms, the lead driver spoke. Here's your area. They already got a few gals in the bunkhouse. You can meet, no guys, of course, or we'll kill them. She saw him grinning in his mirror in a way to where she couldn't tell if he was joking or serious. Gotcha. And she gave him a thumbs up out of her window, and he waved and did a U-turn, then drove back the way he came. Drone Girl nestled her truck back into the spot that looked like her truck would fit and cut the engine. Her window was down and the sounds were amazing, and she felt a wave of emotion build up again. The smell of fresh, clean air was amazing. The birds were chirping, several frogs could be heard in the background. There was a fire going in the cabin. Drone Girl decided it was better to get it over with sooner than later. She hopped out of the truck and gravel crunched under her feet as she walked over to the cabin door. 12. Relative peace. Cabin. The coming weeks. Drone Girl met the other two gals in the cabin. They were both really nice to her. One was skittish but didn't have much to offer. The other was an alchemist who had almost completed her degree when the collapse happened. The two girls were great company, but the chemistry lab freaked Drone Girl out. The alchemy gal was interested in the drones and immediately wanted one of her own that had a mechanism for dropping varieties of chemicals out of it. Drone Girl said she'd make the drone to those specs as long as the gal promised to not spill any of the chemicals on her. There was agreement, and one of the many new drones were born. The alchemy gal loved to play with the drone, and her friend loved to watch. They became pretty decent friends in no time at all. One day within those first few weeks, Drone Girl was flying around with one of her recon drones and saw more vehicles coming. She'd been put on a recon and intel team along the perimeter due to her skills. Drone Girl radioed it in, and soon the long and short distance checks had been positive. Another team from the city had made it, which made Drone Girl very happy. People were getting out of the horrible city. More people that could be helped. Maybe they would want a drone. Drone Girl rushed to meet them after landing her drone. There was a girl with them that was unconscious. The girl wasn't hurt, only was in shock. Drone Girl offered to take care of her personally and designated a special space for the girl in her truck so she wouldn't have to be by the chemicals. The chemistry gal assured Drone Girl that the bunkhouse was safe, but in all fairness, a portion of it had been turned into a lab. Drone Girl felt safe in her truck, therefore the unconscious girl stayed in the truck also. She'd been delivered with a cot, some blankets, and a few bags. There were also some guns, but the security guy cleared and safety checked them all, then put them in her bag to reload later. Drone Girl wasn't necessarily against guns, but didn't have any experience with them. The guys had assured her they were unloaded and safe, so they stayed with the rest of Nines' stuff for when she woke up. So the gal, which they called Nines, laid in her bed and slept and slept. The truck was comfy and quiet, so she could get all the rest she needed. They told Drone Girl that she wasn't hurt, but had to defend herself against multiple attackers and then passed out. She'd been in isolation for several weeks right after the collapse and must have gone into shock after the events. Drone Girl looked after Nines for several days, in between going on patrols with the guys. The town was starting to look pretty decent. The gun shop store owner was back with a full complement of guns that he had got saved from one of the big cities. The two gals that came from the city had brought enough hygiene products for the ladies to last a long time, and now there was enough coffee to last their area for a long time as well. There'd been a few sporadic gun battles as displaced citizens kept trying to move into the county randomly, along with gangs testing various locations. Each time Drone Girl had the aerial covered and kept improving her drones. The sharpshooters in the group were easily able to find the bad guys, suppress them, and cover the team. The other guys on the team could flank and envelop no problem. Drone Girl had a special drone for nighttime with various night vision technology so she could switch between. It was all from the closeout at Radio Crash. For off time, she trained a few of the guys how to operate the drones that were interested in them. One night, when Drone Girl was working on a doggy drone in her trailer, Nine started to stir, and her eyes fluttered. My books. Where are my books? Where am I? What happened? Drone Girl was on the radio right away to dispatch to relay the situation. They all used low power, so they didn't step on everyone's toes around them, and so signals couldn't be intercepted. In a moment, dispatch came back. Someone's on the way. Copy, thanks. Drone Girl addressed Nines. My name is Drone Girl. I've been taking care of you. You're fine and in a safe place. Nines tussled around for a second, trying to get her bearings. Where are my books? There's only metal on the shelves. Drone Girl pleaded with Nines to relax and told her that she was okay and in safe territory with her friends that had brought her. Drone Girl was relieved. She didn't look so beat up now from those men at the grocer weeks earlier. It might have really gave Nines the wrong message. Drone Girl smiled at Nines as best as she could. Then put her hand out for Nines to hold. Nines grabbed her hand and squeezed tight and relaxed her body. The people who saved you are going to come get you caught up. They probably have tons of questions. Just hang in there. I'll get you a bottle of water. Don't leave me. Drone Girl reached back behind her and grabbed a bottle of water while still holding onto her hand. Not going anywhere. Here's some water. Thanks. Sustainment stronghold the following weeks. Nines was feeling a lot better and got her bearings. There'd been a bank in town, which is where all the books got moved to. More people had come to bolster the area's security, covering the north bypass where Drone Girl had come from and the south bypass where Nines had come from. The direct route to the big city to the east had so many roadblocks and different factions in the way that there hadn't been anyone from there in several days. The route to the west, to the beach, was open, and people had been freely traveling and networking. It had essentially become a little miniature state, similar to the rumors of the east of the Cascades becoming independent and sealing off the passes. Security was tight, with everyone branching off to farms and helping secure them so spring could start new crops from all the non-GMO seeds they'd been able to acquire at the various stores. Greenhouses were getting packed and more built every day. It had only been a few weeks into the collapse, but it was like everyone had been preparing for this for ages. They could feel it in their bones that this was both inevitable and meant to be, and they were jumping on the opportunity. If there'd been any corrupt law enforcement, they were immediately escorted out of the county. New people were deputized that followed the Constitution and all worked tightly with the groups securing their areas. The main area of operation was securing roads. And their main operational goal was securing roads. Drone Girl had built a few final drones for the group, and after Nines helped organize and help set up the library, she started helping with ammunition assembly next to the gun shop. The gun shop owner and his friends, who Nines had trained with at the gun store, helped her learn everything there was to know about making ammunition. They collected casings from everyone at the Grange who came in to donate, and had a little lead smelter and the castings. Everyone brought in their primers, extra primers. And the gun shop combined the materials together to make all the ammunition and everyone would ever need. Thankfully, there were a few common calibers that everyone could agree on. Word eventually spread and the people brought in other things to trade for the ammunition, and the Grange ended up turning into a trading post. There were many Granges in the area, so this ended up working really well, since everyone was familiar with them. Drone Girl was able to use these Granges for things like trading for fuel stabilizers for her fuel cans, and running goods back and forth. Before long, Nines was riding with Drone Girl, trading ammo for the shopkeepers between towns. Drone Girl kept a good portion of her drone parts, but traded nearly everything else off to the group that was working on a ham network. Something about how they could get a set of repeaters going and have a signal for at least a few hours a day, based on batteries and various renewable energies. Phones could be adapted to use the ham frequencies and each other, and would become a big Wi-Fi network, essentially. People could text off it, which helped span the hundreds or so miles around the coast fairly easily. Unfortunately, the buffering areas around the coast safe zone started to get more and more lively. By the fourth week, the subdivision on the other side of the farmland started to fall one by one. They had refused to coordinate. They didn't have any resources. They ran out of ammo. They didn't want to trade if they had anything to trade. They'd been overran by a roving gang of around 200. The stories of the people who were able to escape were horrifying.